on Prime Minister's ongoing visit to the Netherlands. We have with us Shri Sidi George, Secretary West in the Ministry of External Affairs, to brief us on the developments of this visit of the Prime Minister so far. We are also joined by our Ambassador to the Netherlands, Ambassador Tuhin Kumar, and Additional Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, Shri Piyush Srivastava. With that, I hand over the floor to Secretary West to take us through the developments of the day. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Randir. As Randir said, we have our ambassador here and also additional secretary who is in charge of Netherlands also present here today. We are just coming back from the official dinner hosted by His Excellency the Prime Minister of Netherlands. Just came straight from there. I would like to state that it was a great visit. So happy to see the outcome. A large number of agreements, very significant agreements, MOUs, and decisions taken during the visit. So it was a wonderful visit. Before I go over each of the items, I wanted to summarize that it has been a great visit and a lot of positivity, a lot of energy in engagement. I could feel it. Now let me, and also, particularly some of the major decisions, like you are aware of the Tata ASML, the agreement which was signed on the semiconductors, which is a major development. You have also seen the decision in terms of the Chola copper plates exchange. Each of these we have issued separate press releases which are already available. In terms of outcomes, I am told that at least there are 17 outcome documents and decisions which I would brief you during the course of the briefing today. So let me begin by also now getting into the sequence of the events. As you are aware, Honorable Prime Minister is currently visiting Netherlands after a gap of 9 years. There has been a significant momentum in the bilateral relationship across sectors, which was reflected in Prime Minister's comprehensive and fully packed engagements and productive discussions with the Dutch leadership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji arrived in The Hague late in the evening yesterday and received a very warm welcome from the Indian diaspora upon his arrival. Members of the diaspora organized special cultural performances drawing Prime Minister's appreciation. Today, Prime Minister Modi started his engagements by addressing a large gathering of Indian diaspora, which included the Suriname Hindustani community in the Netherlands, one of Europe's largest Indian origin communities. Thereafter, Honorable Prime Minister called on Their Majesties, the King William Alexander and Queen Maxima. Prime Minister shared India's the reforms that happened in India over the last few years, last decade, and also the transformational changes that have happened in India during the last few years, and our march towards a Vikasit Bharat, a developed India 2047. They expressed satisfaction with the progress in bilateral relationship and discussed ways to further strengthen it. Their Majesties also hosted a luncheon in honor of the Prime Minister, which was attended also by ministers and business leaders. Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Jetten then participated in the Chola copper plates restitution ceremony, which again we have issued a press release on that. The two sets of the copper plates, 21 large and 3 small each, bearing royal charters of Emperors Rajendra Chola I and Kulothunga Chola I, a cultural treasure for us that are being returned to India by the Netherlands. This is in line with the Prime Minister's vision of Viraspi or Virasatli. We thank the government of the Netherlands and others who are involved in, and also the Leiden University for their support in this project. The two prime ministers then attended the signing of the partnership agreement between Tata Electronics and ASML, which I mentioned in the beginning, supporting the semiconductor fab in Dholera, ASML's first such partnership with India. This is a significant step in advancing India's semiconductor ecosystem. Those who are following India's economic transformation would know that in the last few years there has been a complete transformation in the semiconductor industry in India. Now, we are moving ahead with a significant progress in that field, and this would be a major development in that direction, particularly with our fab coming up in Dholera. Prime Minister Modi and the Prime Minister of Netherlands then addressed top Dutch industry leaders at the CEO's roundtable. 16 top CEOs from the Netherlands attended, spanning the sectors of semiconductors, maritime, renewable energy, healthcare, and logistics. In fact, I was noticing each one of them came up with, they focused on several areas of that have been identified, in which we have also made progress in the past. In fact, many of these companies are already present in India, doing very well in India, and what we are looking at, scaling it up in India. See, with the transformation in India over the last few years, economic reforms, transformation, and the performance of the economy, things have changed. A lot of developments. What is required now is kind of a quantum leap in the engagement so that we can scale it up. And that is exactly what I saw today in this business engagement. The topics came upon semiconductors, robotics, AI, research in particular many areas, startups, co-creation, value chain, and many of the companies also focused on the talent, which is another important point of innovate in India, for India, and for the world. These are some of the the discussions. Again, Gift City. Gift City, the project which we are doing in Gujarat, which again came up, and they wanted to engage with that. India is seen as a talent engine. These are some of the points which were discussed: talent partnership, global mobility, skills. Then, another topic of discussion was on the infrastructure, logistics, sustainability, scalable proposition, and 2047 transformation. They all want to be part of India's this transformational journey, grow together, India and Netherlands growing together. See, in this Amritkal journey which we have, when India is moving to become a developed country by 2047, we have several partners. And Netherlands is one of such very reliable partner which we have, and we look forward to working together. If you look at it in terms of investment, Netherlands is one of the largest investors in India, more than $55 billion of investment so far. Similarly, India is a major investor in Netherlands, $28 billion of investment. So it's a mutually beneficial partnership. Again, look at the trade. The Netherlands is one of the largest trading partners for us, which a total trade of $27 billion last year. So this is something unique, and that shows the possibilities. And particularly now we have entered into India-EU FTA, which we have negotiated and concluded, which should be entering in force after it is being concluded, signed. Then we could already there is a commitment to increase trade by 5 times, double the trade in 5 years. So that is also discussed. So India's maritime ambitions, and in that, what is that Netherlands can do? Reliable, modern water infrastructure is coming up. Make in India, supply vessels, long-term economic growth. These are some of the topics which were discussed both in the meetings and also in the business engagement, which is very important. Developing a digital corridor between a sea and digital corridor connecting Indian ports with the ports of Netherlands, another important, very important project. Agricultural supply chains is another area which was discussed. Green hydrogen, again, very significant. India is doing a lot of emphasis on green hydrogen, and so is Netherlands doing it. Then building ships. You would be very happy to know that ships are already being built in India for Netherlands. Because particularly I was referring to a Kochi shipyard. Yes.
Netherlands is helping.
Netherlands is?
Helping in building.
In building the ships in India.
Dredgers.
Yes.
Dredgers,
yes. Then Maritime Center for Excellence is being set up. So these are some of the points I just wanted to touch upon. Maritime, again, that I will cover when we come to the museum, the local museum cooperation I will cover. So I was referring to the business engagement which we had. 16 top CEOs of the Netherlands attended, spanning the sectors of various sectors which I mentioned. Particularly I wanted to touch upon semiconductors, maritime, sustainability, renewable energy, hydrogen, healthcare, logistics, again, resilient supply chain. These are the issues which was discussed and agreed to in the evening. His Excellency the Prime Minister of Netherlands hosted Prime Minister Modi for bilateral restricted format and delegation level discussions covering the entire spectrum of partnership and key regional and global developments. The two leaders welcomed strong bilateral momentum and agreed to further deepen cooperation in trade, investment, technology, semiconductors, green energy, defense, water, another very important area of cooperation, water, we are working on it. In that regard, I would also like to specifically mention about the project which we are doing, which was agreed on the Kalpasar project, which I would brief you on that, and also Prime Minister will be visiting the dike tomorrow along with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands. And of course, support for the early India-EU FTA signing and implementation. These were all discussed. In a significant decision, the two leaders acknowledged increasing convergence and formally elevated the bilateral relationship to a strategic partnership, which is again significant, very significant. They adopted an ambitious roadmap for strategic partnership, guiding cooperation across various sectors. Official talks were followed by exchange of agreements and MOU signed. Details of the press statement, joint statement, the strategic partnership roadmap, and the list of outcome will be made available, or is it already on the line?
We'll be putting up.
We will be putting up it shortly on the MEA website, and also would be released. Leaders continued the conversation at the dinner hosted by Prime Minister of the Netherlands. We're just coming from there. Apart from the strategic partnership roadmap, the wide-ranging outcomes highlight deepening partnership across trade facilitation, resilient supply chains, mobility, strong alignment on green energy, and expanding cooperation in water again. Agriculture, health, education, and of course cultural ties. I would like to highlight some of the key outcomes before I conclude my opening remarks. There was a big push for trade and investments, creating opportunities for businesses and avenues for job creation. contributing decisively to, again, Vikasit Bharat, developed India. Given the Dutch expertise in semiconductor, green energy, water, these were very big focus areas. I also particularly refer to the Tata ASML agreement which was signed today, which is a game-changing agreement, which is coming. This agreement is coming after the signing of the MOU on partnership in semiconductors, which we signed last year, and related emerging technologies, as well as the MOU on critical minerals, and again announced today, which will usher in a new era of technological partnership between the two sides. It will provide a big support for our efforts to build a robust semiconductor ecosystem in India and creation of course, high-skilled jobs. Then we go to green hydrogen. The two sides adopted an ambitious green hydrogen roadmap which would support India's production, usage and export of green hydrogen. The two sides also expressed the expressed satisfaction on the discussions for developing a roadmap on green and digital sea corridor, which I mentioned, connecting the ports of India with that of Netherlands. Another big outcome was the letter of intent for technical cooperation on the Kalpasar project in Gujarat. As you are aware, this project is envisaged as a multi-purpose mega water project aimed at creating a fresh water reservoir contributing to water and food security in Saurashtra region of India. The two sides already share a strong collaboration in water sector and have a strategic partnership on water. The Dutch has a strong expertise in this area, and the Kalpasar project has similarities with the dike in the north of the Netherlands. How do you? Afsluitdijk, yes. In the north of Netherlands, whose primary objectives were flood protection and land reclamation. Both prime ministers are scheduled to visit the site tomorrow. The two sides also discussed further enhancing defense ties, including defense industrial collaboration, building on the letter of intent on defense cooperation signed last year, and the Netherlands joining IPOI, Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. Again, a very important initiative which is growing, which is building partnership in the Indo-Pacific region. Now let me touch upon a very important agreement again signed today, which is the MOU on mobility and migration, which is very significant. It would open new opportunities for Indian students and skilled professionals. This is also complemented by stronger collaboration on the education sector through the MOU on higher education, as well as the agreement between Nalanda and Groningen universities. Nalanda, as you know, is a university which has come up in a civilizational connect. It has become one of the very important civilizational project in India in the early centuries, in the third century, third and fourth century onwards. This Nalanda University was one of the biggest educational centers in the world. And then recently the government has again taken the initiative to rebuild the university, and it has come up. I had the occasion to visit the university a few months back. It's huge, and it is tying up various engagements with various other universities, and one of them is now with a Netherlands university, which is a very important development. On culture, I already mentioned you about the restitution of the Chola copper plates, which is again a major outcome. The outcomes from the visit reflect the growing depth and breadth of our relationship achieved in recent years, as well as the shared commitment of both countries to work together for mutual benefit, prosperity, and long-term cooperation. These outcomes are firmly aligned with India's Amrit Kal vision, again in the journey to 2047, when we have the vision given by our Prime Minister for making India a developed country. So many projects are ongoing at every level: Make in India projects, startup projects, a Clean India project, Water Jal Shakti related projects, all this, and I'm very happy that Netherlands is closely associated with each of these projects. And this will lead to inclusive growth, strengthening economic resilience, accelerating the journey towards a Vikasit Bharat. I think I will stop here. We would be very happy to take questions and will be happy to respond. Thank you.
With that, we'll open the floor for some questions. Just to inform you that the documents that Secretary just mentioned, they have been put on our website, so if you wish to have a look at them, please do. Okay, we start with Amrit, you.
Secretary, could you share details on the defense corps?
Could you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Amrit Pal Singh from DD India. Sir, could you share details on the defense cooperation agreed upon today?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any more questions? We can take a bunch of questions together.